Hello everyone, my name is Emily Artful. I'm a watercolor artist based out of Omaha, Nebraska, and today I'm going to show you how you can control the flow of pigment on your paper using just your water. So the main thing to keep in mind with watercolors is that water is going to flow where water already is, because water is hydrophilic. It likes to be with itself. So a really common complaint I hear from beginner watercolor artists is, oh my gosh, when I go to lay down another layer of color, it just blends into the first layer. What do I do? And the answer is quite simple. You just let that first layer dry completely. You can either use time or use a heat gun or a blow dryer, something to dry that first layer completely. So I'm going to demonstrate how the pigment behaves differently on different levels of water. So let's go ahead and make this easy, and let's just make it small, medium, large, like we're ordering a soda at a restaurant. I'm going to, so that I can see my water, I'm going to tint my water the color of the pigment I'm going to lay down. I'm going to remove a little water off my brush, and I actually think I'm going to start with medium. So I can kind of gauge outwardly how much a small amount of water would be. Just a nice moderate amount of water here. And make sure, you really want to make sure when you're laying down your water it's nice and even. It doesn't pill up too much on the bottom. A small amount of water. And then with a lot of water, I'm just going to go to town. Let me tint it again so I can see it. I see how much water I am laying down. Now this is a small surface area, so I can't really do a large amount of water without some pooling at the corners, but that's okay. This is all just really for demonstration purposes. Add just a little more water to my medium so it doesn't start looking like small. Here's what a pretty dry brush looks like right here. So that's our example up here, right? The Arteza water brush does a great job of laying those washes down. So here's just a small amount of water, medium amount of water here. A little large amount of water will do. Look at that pigment, that's gorgeous. Now, like I said, no matter what, you're gonna get some pooling. I'm gonna help kind of wrangle that pooling a little bit. There's enough of it. You just get your paper towel. You twist it into a little mountain, and you just gently dab. Now let's go ahead and wait for these guys to dry. Now that our watercolors are dry, you can see the difference between all the different levels of water. Now up here, obviously, we did dry onto dry, which means that we had very little water on our brush, mostly pigment was on our brush, and it came into contact with the dry paper. You can actually see these really nice little kind of strokes here at the end, and that's actually called dry brushing, that technique. These three are wet onto wet. The small amount of water, as you can see, the pigment really didn't travel very much. You still get these really nice veins that kind of bloom outward and downward, but the pigment is mostly concentrated at the top. And that's because there was only a small amount of water, and as it was drying, it reduced the amount of time the pigment had to travel. The medium amount of water and the large amount of water look pretty similar, but with the medium you could see the pigment is still pretty concentrated up here at the top. It still had plenty of time to travel all the way down and almost completely cover the square in the red paint, but it's still mostly concentrated up here. The large amount of water, however, traveled much farther, to the point where it actually started to kind of pool up down here. I had to pull some water away to prevent splotching and blotching down here. But as you can see, the pigment is much lighter up here, and that's because it traveled a lot farther, filling the entire square. So this is something to keep in mind the next time you make a watercolor painting. You can create very different effects depending on how much water you have on your brush and how much water you lay down on the page.